Leadership. Probably you might not think, yeah, I heard a lot of that. Yeah, but you probably have not heard from the expert we have with us here today because we have the expert who just published or is about to publish her new book, The New Guide to Leadership. Hello and welcome, Marianne Abib-Pech.
Thank you, Niels. Thank you. Yes, it's the second edition. It's been a long journey to get there, but I'm super happy. The book was published at the end of last year, and we just launching. We did the book launch in London last week with a bunch of very interesting leaders from corporate executive entrepreneurs, and we are launching the book in Paris next week. So if any of your audience happens to be in Paris next week, please look me up on LinkedIn and I'll be happy to welcome you to the book launch.
Brilliant, brilliant. So congratulations, of course, Pearson as the publisher, the Financial Times guide. That's, of course, quite an achievement here. So when we talk about leadership right now, what is your definition of leadership today?
Oh, how long do we have for now?
Yeah, so try to make it as spot on as you can because I know it's quite a broad question. Yeah.
Okay, so I would say that leadership for me is a state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, we have always the question, is it leadership nature or nurture, how you define leadership? But leadership is something that is diffused in a person that start with a who I am as a person, convey a message to the team, but then ultimately shape the world at large. So leadership, a leader is somebody who is self-aware, has an ability to influence others and wants to have an impact on society.
Mm. Excellent. And of course, most leaders will say, well, of course, self awareness is important. And most leaders pretty much say, yes, I got that. I am very self aware. I know what I'm doing. I have the self reflection. And when you then ask their staff and their team members, you usually get a pretty different result from that. So, how can people be sure if they really have the self awareness they should have?
External validation. You just said it, I think it's a two-way process. First of all, is investing the time of doing the work, having, a regular practice on who I am as a leader, what do I want to stand for as a leader, what are my values, how do I change? Because leadership is a journey. You're not a leader, you're always a leader in the making.
Mm-hmm.
Every experience shape your leadership. My leadership today is one thing. After this conversation and what I'm going to get from this conversation, my leadership tomorrow is going to be different. So having this moment of pause, think, to get clarity is the first step of the journey. The second step is external validation with feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So I always suggest, and I even have that myself, people around me that see me, interact with me in all my business interaction with team, with some investors, startups, and everything. And every couple of months or once a quarter, I we sit down and I ask them, how have you seen my leadership changed?
Mm-hmm.
Or always remind them, do you remember this is what I stand from a leadership brand perspective? How do I compare, contrast, or rank vis-a-vis my brand?
Mm. And
And
that was exactly the word I was now looking for, the brand. So how do you build up a leadership brand? And also because I think quite a number of people say, look, I work for a large corporation. Branding is something the organization does, it's not something I do. So why is a leadership brand important? What does a leadership brand consist of? And how do I actually build up a leadership brand within the organization?
um, it's a very interesting question because I've always been thinking that as a person, you are a product. You own your own, Marianne Limited company. So it's not because you work in a big organization that you need to adjust and align yourself with the brand of your organization. You are your own brand. So the concept and leadership brand for me has always been important.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I define it is what do I want to stand for? I.e., what people buy when they see,
Mm-hmm.
what do they get from me? So my brand is based on authenticity, is based on strategic thinking, and is based on um, reasonableness,
Mm-hmm.
and that starts with knowing who you are very well. So there is this almost carbon copy of who you are as a person How do you translate who you are in two or three key leadership traits, authenticity, strategic thinking, or transparency? And then based on that, ask yourself the question, how do I convey in everything I do those leadership traits? So
Mm.
when people, when people sees me, they hear me, they interact with me, they will always see me as authentic with strategic thinking and transparency.
Mm, absolutely. And when it comes to leading people, of course, one aspect is of crucial importance, and that is credibility. You're writing about credibility in your book. And let's face it, when you look into today's science, many people in organizations say, look, I know that my leader is on a career ladder. They say anything that the board says. We're running in this direction on Monday, and when we should run on this direction on Wednesday, he will tell us, or they will tell us to do so. How do I build up credibility in this highly volatile world where anything can change by tomorrow?
Um, so first of all, like credibility is for me is not aligning with what people say. Credibility is standing for something. You're credible. I'm a credible finance leader because my career I was a CFO, I'm an investor, I have a fund. My career led me to that. So credibility is a mix of academic expertise, fields of expertise, but also experience.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me, how do you remain authentic when the organization is changing? It goes back to, well, what is leadership, right? And leadership is, as I say, a state of mind, but it comes with courage. Courage
Mm-hmm.
to stand for something, but also it comes with a responsibility. So, as credibility is also built on inherently weaving all your experience, asking yourself, what am I missing? What I'm not so good at?
Mm-hmm.
Expressing this honestly and working on it. So I think credibility in a corporate organization is more around, does this person know what she does or what he does?
Mm-hmm.
Can I trust this person? And has this person the depth of knowledge, but also the breadth of knowledge that you need to navigate a volatile, chaotic, very interesting world?
Mm. Excellent. And one chapter,
Let me
and
ask
yes,
what, say one
yes,
more thing, because I think, obviously, when you write a book and it's a 300 and 480 pages
yeah.
book, you have part of the book that you like and you have part of the book that you love writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the one on credibility, I really loved writing it because I think, the first book was written 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, credibility was based on expertise. You needed to be an expert, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was about depth. Today, you need to have, because the world is changing all the time,
Yeah.
because we all have this, which is an incredible source of
Yeah.
knowledge, sometimes not so interesting at other times. Everybody who wants to become a leader needs to work now on two dimensions: the depth of expertise, but also the variety of expertise. And I think I say in the book, we moved from a specialized or specialized generalist to generalized expert. So now
Mm-hmm.
you need both dimension, depth and breadth, to build credibility.
Excellent. And when you now are a credible leader, or you aim to be, one specific chapter talks about building relationships and networks. As we both live and lived in the UK, we know how important networks are. And in many other cultures, when you are in France, les réseaux, the networks are extremely important as well. When you look into certain industries, when you look into certain public service offices, basically half of the staff is coming from two different universities, if not only one. So when you now talk about relationships and networks, when some people say, look, I think it's all about competence and I think I can convince people by competence, I'm not really the person that hangs out during the afternoon sessions and building connections with this. I'm a subject matter expert. That's my strength. Do you think that people can survive and make a career in a leadership space without building their networks?
Um, it's an interesting question. So I would say yes or no. If you are really a subject matter expert, inherently your network is only going to be people in the same field, right? If you're a quantum physicist today, you know that most of the community around you will be quantum physicists, and you will need to network, but it will be more like you need to deepen your understanding on this community to get insight to feed your thinking on what's next and how can I become a much better expert.
Mm-hmm.
The neighborhood of knowledge is increasing all the time. And I mean, knowledge is increasing all the time, right? If you're in a business capacity, I think it's a different story. In a business capacity, becoming a leader or going to the top job would definitely require handling different situations, being exposed to different situations. I used to call that having the wider term of reference possible.
Mm-hmm.
That comes with talking to very different people, developing your three type of network, the strategic networks, the operational networks, and the next phase network to get you inherently a 360 view of the word, of your word, or the word that is the most relevant for you. I am a finance person, I'm an investor. I think in my network, I have philosopher, artist, creative, because that fuels like, how do they innovate? What is the process of innovation? Then I can take and use in my due diligence with founders, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I have obviously very good and deep finance network, but my finance network ranges from corporate executive to family office to high net worth individual or LP. So it's every community has different subsection that constitute a network. So my my advice is build as diverse and as deep network as possible because if you are a I really have a hard time with this one,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
matter expert,
Yes.
get a great intellectual conversation out of it. And
Mm-hmm.
if you are a business person or somebody who is a leader in the making, you'll get diversity of thinking, differentiation, and a good conversation out of it.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. To wrap this interview up, two, three more questions. So you talk about vision building as well, and that is something where many people who work in organizations who are not leaders say they see that we need a vision. However, they got a bit tired of the term because they say, "Look, we have a vision here, we have a vision there. This usually ends up as some sort of poster on the wall, and then it's usually vision, mission, and values. And then they see, okay, we have marketing. I see that." And then it is not lived by at all, and it changes every other year. New CEO, new vision, mission, and values. So how can leaders still use this vision building you talk about in a credible way without people saying, "Oh yeah, just the next one. Let's just let this one pass because we survived the last three as well."
Yes. It's an interesting question because I believe it's actually pretty healthy and normal when you get a top job as a leader. You want to leave your trace. You want to leave your trail, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as the mission of the company, the mission is something that we will never reach. It's the North Star. That's the mission, right? The vision needs to be personal to the person who has the helm of leadership. So as long as there is a continuity on how is your vision getting us closer to the mission, then I'm okay with people tweaking the vision to make this vision theirs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Changing of vision. Um, the world is very uncertain. The world is very chaotic. So I think that there is a natural ability to always trying to make a vision relevant to the world
Mm-hmm.
as we live today. But if you take an helicopter view, and I think I say that quite a bit in the book on adjust to circumstances, adjust to circumstances, adjust to circumstances, and even in the strategic uh, strategic ability, building your strategic ability, I think that moving forward, the element of vision is probably going to disappear. And we're going to go, what's the mission? How are we going to get there? Where do we want to go that we will always take us into a a journey of excellence. And then it's going to be about adjusting strategy constantly to pretty much react as best as we can to changing circumstances.
Mm.
So I understand that in a corporate environment, everybody is now rolling their eyes on the vision.
Yeah.
But I think, at the end of the day, it's pretty normal in the world we live in today. And forget about the vision, go back to what is the mission of the company, and more importantly, what are the values? Because I
Mm.
think even more from a recruiting standpoint and everything, um, what people what make people want to join a company and what makes people want to be effective and driving this company is the mission and the values.
Mm. Excellent. And of course, values that need to be lived by the leaders in the organization. Excellent. Two more questions. So you also talk about the accelerators of leadership. And of course, any leader loves to accelerate what they do. So what are the accelerators of leadership people can expect in your book?
So three accelerator of leadership. And again, I said at the beginning that leadership is a state of mind. Leadership is about shaping society, but leadership is also about being off your time and in your time. And the second edition has a bonus chapter, which is the accelerator, because I really wanted to make it current. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the ultimate leadership sign is currency. So in my book, literally, the three accelerators are neurosciences because it is for me the brain, how can you use your brain? How can you create relationship by short circuiting or shortcutting the social element and getting to the core of what makes us all the same. We have a brain. We don't have the same brain. We will all have a brain. So cutting through complexity and understanding the neurochemical, the body language, the amygdala and everything, it's a wealth of knowledge that accelerates you and allow you to be much more efficient and build relationship faster. The
Mm.
second has to do with the world we live today. Again, it's crisis communication. I think, in business or in life, it's all about news cycle these days. And the most dramatic is the news cycle, the better. So handling crisis communication very well is super important in leadership today. And the last part, obviously, it's about artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And the bonus chapter is actually not telling you how to use artificial intelligence, but telling you why artificial intelligence can be an accelerator and, more importantly, enhance your brand, enhance you as a person, and accelerate your business.
Mm.
I want to say that going back to the networking, um, leadership is never exercised in the vacuum, and the best things you create are always team exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So this very bonus chapter, I had the great pleasure to co-write it with Alan Stevens, an expert in crisis communication, Michel Morvan, the OECD expert of artificial intelligence, and Nicola Costa, a consultant from Alvarez and Marshall, were specifically uh, um, working on transformation, leadership transformation, and applying neuroscience tools to transformation.
Excellent. I think these are the perfect final words. One question, of course, I have when people now say, I think Marianne can be really helpful for us. How can people get in touch with you when they want to have you as a consultant, speaker, trainer, coach, or probably for a keynote speaker for their conference? How can they get in touch?
So I'm on LinkedIn at Marianne Abib-Pech, and also you can find me at my website, marianneabibpech.com, and I'm always happy to help. And I think, leadership is about shaping society, and we all can do that every day.
I think these are the perfect final words. Marianne Abib-Pech, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.